Namaskar. It is indeed a rare privilege and a profound pleasure to welcome this esteemed gathering of distinguished minds, a symphony of brilliance and wisdom. I, Angswarupa Chatterjee, Additional Civil Judge cum Judicial Magistrate First Class, Khondapara, Noyagar, welcome everyone to this inaugural session of the state-level conference on combating human trafficking and bonded labor in Odisha. Let this conference not just be an exchange of ideas, but a spark for change. The quest of today's consultation program is to delve into the discussion of how modern forms of slavery continue to strip millions of their dignity, freedom, and future. This program is being conducted in collaboration with International Justice Mission. IJM deserves profound appreciation for its unwavering commitment to the cause of justice, dignity, and human rights across the globe. Through its relentless efforts, IJM has emerged as a beacon of hope for the most vulnerable, rescuing individuals from the clutches of human trafficking, bonded labor, and other forms of exploitation, while ensuring that survivors find restoration and empowerment. This morning, we are graced by an array of eminent personalities whose remarkable achievements inspire us all, led by Honorable Shri Justice Harish Tandon, Chief Justice of the High Court of Orissa and Patron-in-Chief, Odisha Judicial Academy, the guiding light of this august gathering. We are equally honored to have with us the Honorable Judges of the High Court of Orissa, the Honorable former Judges of the High Court of Orissa, Honorable Chairman and officers of the Orissa Human Rights Commission, respected Director and other officials of the Orissa Judicial Academy, respected Member Secretary of Orissa State Legal Services Authority and other officials, members of the Registry, IJM guests and participants, all judicial officers, other office bearers, members of the print and electronic media, and all other distinguished dignitaries and revered guests who are present with us today or have graced this event through virtual mode on this auspicious occasion. May I now beseech Honorable Shri Justice Harish Tandon, the Chief Justice, High Court of Orissa and Patron-in-Chief, Orissa Judicial Academy, to kindly adorn the dais, and may I also request respected Registrar General, High Court of Orissa, to kindly conduct his lordship to the dais. Thank you, my Lord. May I now humbly request Honorable Shri Justice Krushna Mahapatra, Judge, High Court of Orissa, and Chairman, Judicial Academy and Training Committee, to kindly adorn the dais, and may I also request respected District and Sessions Judge Cuttack to kindly conduct his lordship to the dais. Thank you, my Lord. May I now humbly request Honorable Dr. Justice Sanjeev Kumar Panigrahi, Judge, High Court of Orissa, and Member, Judicial Academy and Training Committee, to kindly adorn the dais. May I also request respected Registrar Vigilance, High Court of Orissa, to kindly conduct his lordship to the dais. Thank you, my Lord. May I now request Shri Daniel Ajay Varghese, Senior Vice President, India, International Justice Mission, to kindly adorn the dais. And may I also request respected Special Officer Administration, High Court of Orissa, to kindly conduct sir to the dais. Thank you, sir. I now seek the permission of the Honorable Chair to grant kind permission to declare the inaugural ceremony open. Thank you, my Lord. The inaugural ceremony is declared open. A sapling planted in faith today becomes a shade for generations tomorrow. On that note, as a token of our heartfelt gratitude, may I now request Ms. Sukanya Satpathy, Civil Judge Junior Division, come SDJM Sundargarh, to present a sapling to Honorable Shri Justice Harish Tandon, Chief Justice, High Court of Orissa, and Patron-in-Chief, Odisha Judicial Academy. Thank you, Madam. I now request Ms. Sudeshna Patnaik, Civil Judge Junior Division, come SDJM Sonpur, to present a sapling to Honorable Shri Justice Krushna Ram Mohapatra, Judge High Court of Orissa, and Chairman Judicial Academy and Training Committee. Thank you, Madam. I now request Srimati Dhruvi Solanki, Civil Judge Junior Division, come SDJM Padampur, to present a sapling to Honorable Dr. Justice Sanjeev Kumar Panigrahi, Judge High Court of Orissa, and Member Judicial Academy and Training Committee. Thank you, Madam. I now request Srimati Pragya Paramita Swain, Civil Judge Junior Division, come SDJM Dharamgarh, to present a sapling to Shri Daniel Ajoy Varghese, Senior Vice President, India, International Justice Mission. Thank you, Madam. I now request all the dignitaries on and off the dais and the audience to kindly rise as a mark of respect for the rendition of the state anthem, Bande Utkala Janani, by Kanta Kobi Lakshmikanta Mohapatra. Thank you all. May I now have the proud privilege to request His Lordship, Honorable Shri Justice Krushna Ram Mohapatra, Judge, High Court of Orissa, and Chairman, Judicial Academy and Training Committee, to kindly present the welcome address. Please, my Lord.
Namaskar. A very good morning to all of you. This has been a rare privilege and an opportunity as well for me to be a part of the august assemblies where personalities dealing with different aspects of justice dispensation system have joined. That has made it homogeneous in spite of the heterogeneity they belong to. I sincerely welcome you all to this proud, pious beginning that has inspired millions of people with its culture of social justice, sanctity, and an integration that is quite comprehensive and formidable. I feel immensely honored to welcome Honorable Sri Justice Harish Tandon, the Chief Justice of High Court of Orissa, who is the cynosure of this occasion, whose presence adds luster to the entire assemblage. All of us are privileged here to be in the midst of constellations of individuals of eminence who have achieved wonders in their respective fields. I welcome everyone to this astounding forum. I welcome my sister and brother judges of the High Court of Orissa. I also welcome the esteemed Registrar General, members of the Registry, a representative of the Law Department, Government of Odisha, Director Public Prosecution, Director and other officials of the Judicial Academy, members of the Member Secretary of the State Legal Services Authority and other officials, learned judicial officers present, Commissioner cum Secretary Panchayat Raj Department, officers from the Police Department, Principal Secretary Department of Women and Child Department, and other government officials for their proactive efforts and cooperation for smooth conduct of the conference. I welcome Sri Daniel Ajay Varghese, Senior Vice President, India, International Justice Mission, and other officials of the International Justice Mission, eminent speakers, tireless activities, the distinguished dignitaries, and all compassionate social souls gathered here whose endeavors have made this occasion outstanding. Today, in this auditorium, we are not merely convening an event, we are weaving together a collective conscience and a solemn covenant affirms the dignity of every human being and refuses to accept the chains of exploitation as an inevitable reality. Human trafficking and bonded labor are not just social wrongs, they are profound moral crimes against humanity. They tear apart the sanctity of the life, throttle the freedom of choice, and reduce God's most beautiful creation, man itself, into a mere commodity of profit and aspiration. Odisha, a land known for its natural beauty, sublime art, and formidable spirit, is also a land where the silent cry of the exploited skill echoes in its villages, brick kilns, factories, and unorganized sectors. This conference is thus not simply a gathering of minds, it's a clarion call to the reverberating hearts, justice, and a march towards liberation. In the words of Swami Vivekananda, and I quote, "They alone live who live for others. The rest are more dead than alive," unquote. Let us therefore live in the trust sense by lending our voices to the voiceless, our strength to the powerless, and our resolve to those long deprived of justice. I convey my gratitude to the international justice system mission whose global legacy of courage and compassion strengthen this endeavor. Their collaboration is not merely organizational, it is symbolic of truth, and justice cannot have boundaries. It is universal, eternal, and indivisible. I extend a heartiest welcome to the erudite speakers and experts whose wisdom shall illuminate the pathway of change to the policymakers who transfer deliberations into decisive action, to the grassroots leaders and NGOs who fight daily battles in the trenches of injustice, and to the young participants whose dream gives us a renewed hope for a future unmarred of slavery, by slavery. Your very presence here is testimony to the fact that, that in this struggle, silence is not an option, indifference is not a choice, and apathy is a betrayal. As Martin Luther King Jr. once said, and I quote, "Injustice everywhere, anywhere, is threat to justice everywhere," unquote. Hence, our deliberations today must echo beyond those walls and ripple across the policies, institutions, and communities. Let us blend the policy with passion, law with love, and enforcement with empathy. Let us build not only stronger legal frameworks, but also stronger human values. Let us stand guard at the threshold of the freedom, ensuring that no child is trafficked, no women enslaved, and no man chained to the perpetual servitude. In doing so, may we carry forward the eternal spirit of our land that teaches us teaches us that every being, however humble, is equally divine and deserves dignity. I once again welcome you all and to this sacred mission. May our coming together today strengthen the cause of humanity, light the torch of justice, and herald a dawn where freedom is no longer a privilege but a birthright of every human soul. Thank you all. Namaskar.
We thank you, my Lord, for the warm welcome extended to our honorable guests, along with your words of wisdom. May I now entreat Shri Daniel Ojoy Varghese, Senior Vice President, India, International Justice Mission, to address this illustrious gathering. Please, sir.
Honorable Chief Justice Harish Tandon, Honorable Justices of the High Court of Odisha, distinguished guests, esteemed colleagues, and dear participants, good morning. It's not often that we see distinguished members of the judiciary, law enforcement, various government departments, and civil society gathered under one roof for a shared purpose. Today is one such moment. We are here because we see the state government of Odisha's commitment and will to address crimes of bonded labor and human trafficking, a crime which remains silent and stubborn in many parts of our country. A crime, as we often say, is hidden in plain sight. In the year 2016, the central government of India indicated that there were about 18 million bonded laborers in India and committed to end this crime by 2030 through a clear action plan. These crimes of opportunity flourish where economic needs lead to forms of modern-day slavery. Interstate migration is risky and recruitment is deceptive. Where awareness is thin and work is informal. As consultants and knowledge partners to various local governments in the country, International Justice Mission, along with their partners, have catalogued the existence of bonded labor and human trafficking across the country in virtually every industry. If I put it differently, when it comes to these crimes, it seems like no industry is exempt. We have also been able to show, however, through both qualitative and quantitative data in multiple states, that when local government leads the fight against such crimes of opportunity, the prevalence of the crime drops significantly. In some cases, the prevalence drop is around 80%. Our Constitution speaks clearly. Article 23 prohibits trafficking and forced labor. The Bonded Labor System Abolition Act, 1976, whose 50th anniversary we will celebrate next year, abolishes bondage and mandates identification, release, and rehabilitation, and prosecution of the perpetrator. But the crime does persist after all these years. According to the NCRB's Crime in India Report 2023, the state of Odisha recorded 162 cases of human trafficking. Under the Indian Penal Code, a total of 1,305 victims were identified and 1,246 adults rescued. 298 persons were arrested, 182 charge sheeted, but only one conviction recorded. These numbers are not just data, they remind us why we are here today. The state of Odisha has shown remarkable resolve in addressing these challenges. The state has constituted a task force for distress migration to tackle various root causes and provide alternative livelihoods. Preventive rescues are being carried out to disrupt trafficking networks before exploitation begins. Vigilance committees have been formed in various districts to ensure monitoring at the grassroots. Corpus funds have been operationalized, and compensation for survivors is being prioritized. There is also strong interstate coordination during rescues and rehabilitation disbursements. These efforts are not just programs. They are clear signals of intention and commitment. They tell every vulnerable laborer that the state sees you and stands with you. And these intentions are not just on paper, they are happening on the ground. Just recently, on 26th August, the Jajpur District Administration rescued a family of 5 people, including 3 minor children, from a brick kiln where they had been trapped in bonded labor for over 10 years, against an advance, a debt of rupees 3,000 rupees. 10 years for a family of 5 for 3,000 rupees. The rescue operation was carried out under the direction of the District Magistrate Jajpur and supervised by the Additional District Magistrate. The joint team comprised the Assistant Collector, the Tehsildar, Assistant Labor Officer, Child Protection Officer, members of the Vigilance Committee, Childline Jajpur, the local police, and civil society. Immediate inquiry and protection were ensured for the survivors. A few years ago, in the infamous hand-chopping case of Dayalu and Nilambar, 8 traffickers were convicted on December 24th, 2016 for kidnapping, trafficking, bonded labor, and attempted murder. You will hear more about this case during the day. The Honorable Court called this crime a heinous crime against society and sentenced all of the 8 people to life imprisonment, the longest sentence ever awarded for bonded labor cases in India. The verdict was a declaration. Those who trade in human lives will face the full force of the law, and the poorest of the poor are not invisible in the eyes of law enforcement, and that includes the judiciary. When justice prevails, fear changes sides. It moves from the victim to the violator, the perpetrator. This state-level consultation today is designed to bring together key stakeholders from the judiciary, government departments, legal authorities, civil society, and survivors of bonded labor from the state to address the pressing challenges of these crimes in this state. It aims to foster collaboration, strengthen legal frameworks, and improve enforcement mechanisms while ensuring that victims have access to legal aid, trauma counseling, and rehabilitation services. We will discuss today strategies for identification, rescue, rehabilitation, and prosecution, and recommend the formation of district-level task forces so that coordination is not just an aspiration, but a structure embedded at the grassroots. Let me close on a personal note. My understanding of the subject of bonded labor and human trafficking and migration has been shaped significantly by Sri Dr. L.D. Misra, who started his career as a government official in this state in the 1970s, who had a hand in the drafting of the Bonded Labor Act 1976, and he went on to become the Union Labor Secretary and later the National Human Rights Commission's Special Rapporteur on Bonded Labor Abolition Act. He's written various books. In his books, there is a phrase that keeps coming up, and this is that phrase: eternal vigilance is the price of liberty. Eternal vigilance is the price of liberty. As we spend this day together, we are expressing and translating that vigilance as citizens into discussions and decisions and recommendations so that the most vulnerable around us can enjoy the same liberties as the rest of us. Thank you, and Jai Hind.
We thank you, sir, for sensitizing us about the extent of the damage caused by widespread human trafficking and bonded labor on the vulnerable people of our society and the need for us to turn into vigilant citizens. May I now have the honor of requesting His Lordship, Honorable Shri Justice Harish Tandon, Chief Justice, High Court of Orissa, and Patron-in-Chief, Orissa Judicial Academy, to deliver the keynote address. Please, my Lord.
Thank you, Ms. Chatterjee, for giving me this honor and the privilege to address this august gathering and talking about a subject which is not only very complex but very complicated, and it's not an easy task for anybody to combat such menace which is rampant and prevalent across the societies. Let me start with the rituals of addressing the gathering. My Lord, my esteemed brother and sister judges on and off the dais, Mr. Daniel Ajay Varghese, the Senior Vice President of the International Justice Mission, the officials of the Government of Odisha, the Registrar Generals and the other members of the registry, other distinguished guests, including the, may I say, the front warriors of the International Justice Mission, who are really working tirelessly for this human trafficking and the bonded laborers. Ladies and gentlemen, as I said that the human trafficking and the bonded labor, this concept is not new. We could definitely trace this concept since the Vedic era. There has been many scripts, even a Rig Veda, they talks about the concept of this bonded laborers, or in a very rudimentary form what we know, the expression which I never believed to be inappropriate to be used but we cannot because it finds place in the English dictionary, is a slavery. We have traced its origins not only from the different scripts. The scholars in those times have also highlighted the concept of this slavery. Even a Kautilya in his Arthasastra has also mentioned about the kind of a slavery, or which is now in a more reformative way is regarded as the bonded labor. If we go back, even in Mesopotamia, in at one point of time, was really practicing this menace of these bonded labors. Even a trading was done. This is what is a barbaric act now in a modern society we can think of, that there can be any trade of a human being or a bonded laborers. Not only such concept remains prevalent in the society of an ancient African culture, Babylonian culture, it also is spread across the other part of the globe. Even the Dutch, the French, the British, the Portuguese, they also were practicing those aspects of the bonded laborers. If you look at the scenario of underdeveloped countries, mostly in the African continent, you will find a lot of the Indian origin peoples who have now been settled. If you look at or trace the history that how they could go there, you will find during this British colony or to serve their colonial purposes, as they ruled a major portion of the globe. These were the migrant laborers who were taken there to serve their purposes, or not for the agricultural purpose, but for the other colonial purposes, like working in a factory, working in their army, which they set up just to have a control over the countries. So these are the testament of the bonded laborers or a human trafficking, which have been documented, and it is really an alarming and it's the eye-opener to us that where we stand today. If we create a linkage, it is more than several thousand years that we are still grappling and organizing this program and talking about the human trafficking and the bonded laborers. As a civilized society, growing rapidly, achieving the aspirations of the many citizenaries, are we in a position to eradicate the human trafficking and the bonded labor completely from the society? Probably not. Otherwise, we would not have gathered here to have a discourse on such aspect. As the earlier speaker, Mr. Varghese has highlighted that the laws are in place, system is there, several committees have been constituted under the laws, yet we have not been able to achieve it. Even when the Britishers, they came, the East India Company, I think, is the first testament to a step to having taken to abolish that particular slavery system or the child or the bonded labor systems. I think the Indian Slavery Act of 1843 was first introduced by the East India Company, so that there cannot be any human being or there cannot be any violation of a human right which is ingrained and inured in every human being. This was followed by the French to enact in 1848, and ultimately even the Queen took over our country from the East India Company. Another act was introduced in 1861. After the independence, we also took a very significant steps by introducing the Bonded Labor System Abolition Act of 1976, which has now been reshaped by certain amendments, where we have introduced a robust system to combat the bonded laborers. When we talk about the bonded laborers, it is gender neutral. Even the children are not spared. And therefore, it is a collective duty of all of us to do a concerted efforts to eradicate the menace of a bonded laborers and a human trafficking. On my personal note and experience, what I find is that there are multiple factors which really, I would say, creates an impetus into a human trafficking and the bonded labor. Everybody talks about the poverty being one of the major factors. Certainly it is. But apart from that, there is a social compulsions also. There is another aspect which appears to be a very human being, but still have a cascading effect if we look at the hindsight, is the aspiration to grow economically and socially. The moment this aspiration comes, the children are put into the system to have the more earning, to uplift the standard of life, and by such efforts, they put or augment this kind of a child labor or a bonded labor, or in other way the human trafficking that happens. In a medieval India, as we know, there was a concept that the Mahajans used to play a very, very major and important roles by putting a family into a debt trap, and then to have the realizations, they used to keep those peoples as a bonded laborers. But in a modern society also, if you look at it, nowadays, in the garb of the improvement, the developments, are we not indirectly putting certain persons as a bonded laborers? What are the measures which are required to be taken? Is the discourse, which we will definitely talk about in a technical sessions which will be held here. I have some suggestions if it really commence, I would say, if it goes to all of you to introspect on that. Why not there should be an audit to be conducted by the government or a committee or the organizations regarding the households which have fell into this trap of these bonded laborers, the migrants who are moving out of the state with an aspiration or a hope to have a better life in future are really falling in trap of those unscrupulous persons, and they are being exploited to the greatest of extent. If we can do such audit, I think it is a duty of the government to come up with the schemes or some kind of a policy so that they would remain within the state and have a sustainable source of income. The migration appears to have been in rise, and the Odisha is playing a very significant role in this regard. I was looking at the data which was supplied to me by the member secretary of the Odisha Judicial Academy, where I find that so national average percentage of the migration is nearly 21.64, and Odisha contributes 78% out of that. That's the alarming data which everyone has to understand and introspect, that what is the reason behind it. The second reason which I found is that if there is a sufficient opportunity of an employment within the state provided by the government, I think that would somehow restrict this migration to happen. The third aspect which I find is the widespread awareness program to be undertaken in a remote pocket of the state, which appears to be a hub for the migrations, leading to a bonded labor or human trafficking. And if the peoples are aware, it is, I think the thing may happen which we are thinking of having not happened, because despite all the systems are in place. I was also a part of the similar program which was organized when I was the executive chairman of the State Legal Services Authority at Calcutta. That is the International Justice Mission. They organized on 22nd of March of this year, 2025. And we have come up with the different ideas and the thoughts. I think that seminar was an eye-opener, and there are many aspects which were talked about. And I believe those who also be talked about here, and the resurrection of the memory which was there, we will definitely feel. At the last, I must say that this auditorium is the witness to the collective wisdom of the erudite scholars who are present today, and a concerted efforts would be undertaken to eradicate any human trafficking or the child bonded or the bonded labor systems from the society. We must stand as a sentinel to a QVV to combat and resist this human trafficking and the child or the bonded labor systems. I hope that this seminar will definitely give us a mini message, give us many food for thoughts, so that we can create an inclusive society and a society free from human trafficking and the child and the bonded laborers. Thank you once again. I thanks to the organizers.
We all thank you, my lord, for drawing an impeccable analysis of the evolution of this worldwide social evil and the need for civilized society to eradicate the same. I now humbly request His Lordship, Honorable Dr. Justice Sanjeev Kumar Panigrahi, Judge, High Court of Orissa, and member, Judicial Academy and Training Committee, to kindly deliver the vote of thanks.
Good morning. Honorable Sri Justice Harish Tandon, the Chief Justice of Orissa High Court, my sister and brother judges, the team IJM, the officials of our registry, the OJA team led by the director, and all the participants who are here. It is indeed my solemn privilege to propose the vote of thanks at the conclusion of this profoundly illuminating and the consultation that is being organized by the OJA in collaboration with the Government of Odisha and IJM. Today's deliberation is going to be far more than an academic discourse. It will be a moral awakening, reminding us that behind every statistics lies a silenced voice, a stolen childhood, and a broken dream, which is what this conference and the consultation program is going to bring about. At the very outset, I express my deepest gratitude to our Chief Justice, Justice Harish Tandon, for his gracious presence and for delivering such a powerful and thought-provoking address. Your insight into the roots of the bonded labor, the alarming data with respect to the issue of bonded labor, and his suggestion regarding the social audit on the bonded labor issue, and other issues what he highlighted is of paramount importance, and everybody should ponder over that issue. Our sincere thanks to our chairman, Orissa Judicial Academy and Training Committee, Justice K.R. Mahapatra, whose erudition and compassion have illuminated the multifaceted dimension of the grave human rights issue, from the inadequacies in law enforcement and the plight of the victims to the international commitments under the UN trafficking. These are some of the issues which has been highlighted by Justice Mahapatra, is also equally important, which should be discussed more and more in this conference. Each of you has contributed and will be contributing in future on this issue. We are profoundly grateful to Mr. Daniel Ajay Varghese and his IJM team for the vision and the steadfast encouragement that continues to make the meaningful engagements on this very important issue. Our heartfelt appreciation to the organizing committee, the Judicial Academy, the State Legal Service Authority, and our registry officials, and the tireless efforts behind the organizing this particular event. To our participants and audience, your presence and participation have lent depth and is going to have a very meaningful, and we will have a meaningful dialogue on this grave issue the world is facing, the state is facing. It is not a local issue, it is an international, local as well as international issue. Let this gathering not conclude as a mere consultation, but as a renewed pledge for this grave issue. The thorough law education and empathy, we will stand and sentinels against exploitation, and as advocates for justice and compassion, we should fight it to uproot this major issue, though it is a gigantic challenge for the society to eradicate it completely, just considering the statistics what elaborated by Chief Justice. On behalf of the organizing committee, I extend our most sincere gratitude to each one of you for your time, your wisdom, and your solidarity in this noble cause. Thank you all, and may you all collectively resolve this and strengthen the continuing pursuit of a world where every human being lives free from fear, coercion, and bondage. Thank you, and have a nice day, and have a nice deliberation on the issue of human trafficking. Thank you.
Thank you, my lord. May I have the permission of your Lordship to declare this inaugural session as closed? Thank you, my Lord. The event is now closed. I now humbly request all the dignitaries to kindly proceed to the portico of the Odisha Judicial Academy for the group photo session followed by tea. I also request the honorable dignitaries and participants to assemble at this auditorium for the commencement of the first technical session at sharp 11:30. Thank you all.